Hi guys, my name is Gautam from 1MSc DSA.
I'm Prakriti from 1MSc DSA.
Myself Javelin from 1MSc DSA.
And we'll be presenting on the topic correlation today.
What is correlation? Correlation is the relationship between two variables and it is denoted by the variable r, and the range is from -1 to 1. When the correlation is 0, we see that there's no relation between two variables. When the correlation is -1, we see that there's a negative relation and one variable increases and the other one decreases. When the correlation is 1, we see it's a positive relation with one variable increasing with the associate variable also increasing.
Talking about the scatter diagram. Scatter diagram is a diagram that shows the relationship between the two variables x and y, where x is plotted along the horizontal axis and y is plotted along the vertical axis. As explained earlier by Gautam about the relationship between the correlations, that is the no correlation scenario, the positive and the negative correlation scenario. These can be easily identified with the use of a scatter representation. We will be explaining about the methods used to find the correlation coefficient. The most commonly used method is Pearson's correlation coefficient. It is used to find the linear dependency between the two data sets. It is represented by the coefficient r, and the formula is as follows. R is equal to n into summation xy minus summation x into summation y divided by the whole root of summation n into summation x square minus summation x the whole square into n into summation y square minus summation y the whole square, where n is the quantity of the information, summation x is the total of the first variable, summation y is the total of the second variable, summation xy is the total of the product of the two variables, summation x square is the total of the square of the first variable, summation y square is the total of the square of the second variable.
Method to find correlation is Spearman's rank correlation. It is used to measure the difference between two variables by strength and direction, which is denoted by rho. The general formula is rho equals to 1 minus 6 into summation di square upon n into n square minus 1, where rho is the Spearman's rank coefficient, di is the difference between two variables for every observation, and n is equals to total number of observations.
The next part of our presentation, we'll be talking about the examples and the applications of correlation. The example for positive correlation, temperature versus the sales in ice cream. We can see as there is a rise in the temperature, there is also a rise in the sales for ice cream.
For negative correlation, time spent running versus body fat. The more the time an individual spends running, the lower the body fat tends to be. In other words, the variable running time and the variable body fat have a negative correlation. As time spent running increases, body fat decreases.
For zero correlation, we see that there's a comparison between the intelligence of a person and the amount of coffee intake. However, both these are not connected to each other in any of the ways. So we see that there's a zero correlation over here.
Now moving on to the applications, we can see in real time that correlation can be used in e-commerce, where we can see that the amount of time a person spends on a website versus the shopping that he does, or the amount of new users in a website and the amount of sales that is done to it.
Amount of money spent on studies versus the income.
We also see that the amount of rainfall in a particular place versus the temperature of that particular place in a season.